The Talmud has over 2 million words written across 500 years by the brightest Jewish sages in history. And hidden in these ancient pages is a complete system for building wealth that explains why Jews represent less than 0.2% of the world's population, but control a disproportionate percentage of global wealth. It's not conspiracy, it's not luck, it's not privilege. It's specific Talmudic principles about money that have been passed down generation after generation. And in this video, I'm gonna reveal the 7 most powerful principles you can start applying today, regardless of your religion or background. Because wisdom has no borders. Ready to dive into one of the deepest sources of financial knowledge ever created? Let's start with the first fundamental Talmudic principle, Ayin Kemach, Ayin Torah. Without flour, there is no Torah study. This means you need basic financial stability before you can dedicate yourself to higher things. The Talmud doesn't romanticize poverty. The sages said, poverty in a man's home is worse than 50 plagues. But listen, this doesn't mean worshiping money. It means recognizing that money is a necessary tool to live with dignity and be able to contribute to the world. You can't help anyone if you're drowning yourself. You can't study, grow, evolve if you're in survival mode all the time. Practical application. Before anything else, you need to build your financial foundation. Emergency fund, stable income, expense control. It's not glamorous, but it's fundamental. The Talmud is extremely practical in this sense. The sages didn't philosophize about universal abundance while starving. They said, work, earn money, stabilize your life, and then fly higher. Second principle, diversify your investments in 3 parts. In the Talmud, there's a specific passage where a sage recommends dividing capital into 3. 1/3 in land, real estate, 1/3 in business, ventures, and 1/3 liquid, accessible money. This was written over 1,500 years ago and remains the foundation of modern asset allocation. Why does this work? Because it eliminates concentration risk. If you put everything in one thing and it goes wrong, you lose everything. But if you diversify, when one area goes bad, the others compensate. It's math, it's statistics, it's wisdom proven by millennia. And there's an interesting detail. The sages said to always keep 1/3 liquid. Why? Because opportunities appear suddenly. If all your money is tied up in real estate or businesses, you can't take advantage when a good chance shows up. Liquidity is power to act. And if you're digging this ancient wisdom applied to modern finance, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because there's a lot more coming. Third principle, Olam keminhago noheg. The world operates according to its customs. This means study the market, understand how things work. Don't go against the tide out of stubbornness. The Talmud is full of discussions about commercial practices, about how markets work, about supply and demand. The sages were extremely observant of economic reality. They didn't stay in ivory towers. They understood that to prosper, you need to understand the rules of the game. It's not about agreeing with everything, but about knowing the terrain where you're playing. Practical application. You want to prosper in technology? Study technology. Want to prosper in real estate? Study real estate. Want to prosper in finance? Study finance. The Talmud deeply values practical knowledge and specialization. It's not about abstract theory. It's about mastering the craft. Fourth principle, Ein adam makne davar shelo bale olam. A person cannot sell what doesn't yet exist. This is about radical commercial honesty. In the Talmud, it's forbidden to sell something you don't have, to make promises you can't keep, to inflate expectations. And there's a practical reason beyond ethics. Reputation is everything. In the Jewish world, your word is your greatest asset. If you break your word once, nobody does business with you anymore. And in a tight-knit community, that's commercial death. So the pressure to be honest isn't just moral, it's economic. Modern application. Build an unshakable reputation. Deliver more than you promise. Be known as a person of your word. This isn't being naive, it's long-term investment. The best deals in the world happen between people who trust each other. And trust takes years to build and seconds to destroy. Fifth principle. Talmid chacham shiosek bisakora matzliach. A scholar who engages in commerce succeeds. This breaks the false dichotomy between intellectual and merchant. In Judaism, the greatest rabbis were often also successful merchants. Why? Because Torah and Talmud study develops crucial skills: analytical thinking, ability to see multiple perspectives, logical argumentation, memory, discipline. All of this transfers directly to business. Talmudic debates are intense mental training that later applies to commercial strategy. And there's the reverse too. Practical business experience enriches study. You understand Talmudic commercial laws better when you deal with real commerce. It's a symbiosis. Practical application. Never stop studying. Read books, take courses, learn continuously. But also get your hands dirty. Theory without practice is empty. Practice without theory is blind. The Talmudic ideal is the person who does both. And look, if you're here with me absorbing this ancestral wisdom, go ahead and drop that like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Sixth principle. Machatzit shekelcha le Elohim, machatzit shekelcha le atzmecha. Half for God, half for yourself. This one's about balance. The Talmud condemns both greed and waste. You should prosper, but you should also be generous. And there's deep spiritual logic here. When you're generous, you break attachment to money. You demonstrate you're not its slave. And paradoxically, this attracts more prosperity. The sages guarantee that whoever does tzedakah, charity, never becomes poor. In fact, they say it's one of the few cases where you can test God, give, and see if you don't prosper. But there's a crucial detail. It's not about giving everything. It's about giving a specific percentage. The Talmudic standard is 10%, ma'aser. Some rabbis recommended up to 20% for those who can. But never more than that, because otherwise you yourself become dependent on others. Seventh principle. Ezehu ashir, hasameach bechelko. Who is rich? One who rejoices in their portion. This one's revolutionary. Wealth in the Talmud isn't measured only by how much you have, but by how much you feel you have. A person with millions who lives dissatisfied, always wanting more, comparing themselves with billionaires, is considered poor. A person with modest resources but who lives with gratitude and contentment is considered rich. Because wealth is a state of mind before it's a state of account. And there's a powerful practical application. When you operate from gratitude for what you have, you make better decisions. You don't act out of desperation. Don't fall for shady schemes. Don't go into debt for show. You have peace, and peace generates clarity, and clarity generates prosperity. Now, let's go to 3 advanced Talmudic applications for wealth building. First, the concept of ona'ah, fair price. In the Talmud, there's extensive discussion about what's a fair price and what's exploitation. If you sell something for much more than it's worth, that's forbidden. If you buy something for much less than it's worth, exploiting the seller's ignorance, that's also forbidden. The sages established that acceptable price variation is about 1/6 of market value. More than that, the transaction can be nullified. Why does this matter? Because it creates a fairer and more sustainable market. When everyone plays fair, everyone prospers in the long run. Second application, Bal tashchit, don't waste. It's forbidden to waste resources in Judaism. This applies to food, objects, money, time. There's a Talmudic consciousness that everything is a divine gift that should be used with purpose. Financial application, cut waste from your life. That subscription you don't use, that impulse purchase, that expensive habit that adds no value. Waste is a prosperity leak. The more you plug the leaks, the more you accumulate. Third, Application: Hachnasat Orkim, hospitality. Seems to have nothing to do with wealth, but it has everything. In the Talmud, hospitality is considered greater than receiving the divine presence. Why so much importance? Because hospitality creates network. When you're generous with your time, your home, your food, you build genuine relationships, and business happens between people who know and trust each other. The biggest opportunities come from networking, but not fake networking of exchanging cards. True networking of really caring about people. So let's recap the 7 Talmudic principles for building wealth. First, establish financial foundation before everything. Second, diversify in 3 parts. Third, study the market and understand how it works. Fourth, be radically honest in business. Fifth, combine study with practice. Sixth, be generous but balanced. Seventh, cultivate gratitude for what you have. And the 3 advanced applications: practice fair pricing, eliminate waste, cultivate genuine hospitality. These aren't theoretical principles. They're practices tested for thousands of years in one of the most financially successful cultures in history. And the best part? Anyone can apply them, regardless of religion. Here's my Talmudic challenge for you. Pick 3 of these principles and apply them rigorously for the next 90 days. Could be diversification, commercial honesty, and gratitude, or any combination that makes sense for your situation. And every day before bed, do a quick reflection. Did I apply the principles today? Where can I improve tomorrow? This creates the Talmudic mental habit of constant self-examination. The sages did this with religious laws. You're going to do it with financial principles. After 90 days, come back here and comment what changed. I want to know what practical results you had. Because the Talmud isn't about beautiful theory, it's about real transformation. If you want more applied Talmudic wisdom, I've got videos about tzedakah, about ma'aser, about Jewish commercial laws, about Talmudic thinking. It's all here on the channel in a complete Judaism and prosperity playlist. Drop that like if this video gave you practical tools to build wealth. Subscribe to the channel to keep receiving ancient wisdom that works in the modern world. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any powerful principle. And share this with that person who needs a deeper perspective on money. Comment below. Which of these principles do you already practice without knowing it was Talmudic? And which one are you going to start applying today? I want to know. And remember, the Talmud was built through debates, discussions, multiple perspectives. It's not closed dogma. It's living wisdom that evolves. So take these principles, test them in your life, adapt them to your reality, and become part of this ancient tradition of seeking prosperity with purpose. As the sages say, Im ayin ani li, mi li. If I am not for myself, who will be? It's your responsibility to build your prosperity. But you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can use wisdom from thousands of years already tested and proven. Thank you so much for staying here with me on this journey through the Talmud. I'll see you in the next video, already applying Talmudic principles, already building wealth with wisdom. Shalom and prosperity.